Hey Liz. Okay, so I have Nadine's gut zoomer back, and I just wanted to run over with you really quickly some things that stood out to me and what I'm thinking as we move into her carb pulse. I think she's getting pretty close to being ready to do that. And so by the time I meet with her, which is at the end of next week, I believe, yeah, at the end of next week, I should be ready to review this with her and move into that phase. But I just kind of wanted to briefly touch base with you on this. You can let me know if there's anything that stands out to you that I'm missing. Um, Mainly because the gut zoomer is a little bit new to me. However, the information's not new. It's just the layout of this particular test is a little bit different. So I just wanted to cover my bases with you on that. So obviously, tons of inflammation going on here, which would explain a lot of her symptoms. So a lot of the intestinal inflammation. What I'm seeing, I think, with these markers is more colonic versus small bowel is what it looks like. I was actually surprised that it said that SIBO, I mean, I know this isn't a diagnostic test for SIBO, but I was a little bit surprised by this. I definitely expected that to be higher. And this, I'm like, I don't fully agree with it with this, mainly because she has so many inflammatory markers in her, she's very symptomatic, obviously. So definitely thinking some immune globulins. I think the gut no, Bloat Ease Pro or Mega IgG. They're both pretty comparable in price and same ingredients. But I wanted to touch base with you on that as far as addressing the leaky gut situation that we have here that's leading to a lot of her symptoms. So looks to me like she's not absorbing fat, which we kind of already knew based off of her lab tests. She's not digesting, not digesting vegetable fibers as much. Her short chain fatty acids are kind of all over the place. So I'm thinking adding in some good fibers. So the prebiotic fibers that help to build the short chain fatty acids would be good for her. Let's see here. I'm just looking at my notes, which would also help with the ratios up on that first page. It would help kind of balance out these key ratios here. I think as well, if we can do that, which the carb pulse does do that anyway. So, but I just wanted to touch base with you on that. Let's see here. Obviously, all of those are just wackadoodle. Let's see here. Total cholesterol. I'm not going to go over all of this with you because you'll be able to see it, but I just kind of wanted to go over the main points. So yeah, the short chain fatty acids we need to help with. Okay, so then the secretory IgA is obviously really high, which makes sense because her body's, it sounds like trying to rebuild that gut lining. The fecal zonulin, obviously, and then the fecal occult blood. So it almost sounds like a little bit more of an IBS picture than a SIBO picture, but they all kind of, feed into each other. So let me go ahead and I'll pull up what I'm thinking for, actually, let me go through this really quickly. The gut commensals. Okay. So obviously then we can see, all of the reasons, all of the things that are out of whack because of the gut permeability and the high inflammation here. So let's look through. Okay. And like I said, please let me know if there's anything else that stands out to you. This I thought was really interesting because that first page, and maybe I'm interpreting this part wrong, so tell me if I am. The Methanobrevibacter species, that's a methane producer that's really high. Obviously, there are a lot of methane producers that are really high. I just thought that was interesting that on the first page, it did not show that, which is kind of interesting. So again, maybe I'm interpreting that through the wrong lens. So I would love feedback on that if possible. Let's see here. Strep was a little bit high. That kind of makes sense with the leaky gut situation. Bifido. Yeah, her bifidobacterium and lactobacillus strains are all kind of in the toilet. So my thought was, okay, so if we go to, hold on, let me pull this up here. And this is just a template that I'm kind of working on until we can meet together. My thought is, I know that we had talked about you not preferring Sac Bilardi. I'm wondering if we could do something like Megaspore. I don't know if you're familiar with that. That might be a good alternative, or if you have a different one that you like to use for this. I'm just curious what you thought, but otherwise I like the Bio HPF. I was thinking either that or Candibactin for her on this. And then on the low carb days, because her SAC-B is already elevated on there, I'm kind of like going back and forth between whether or not I want to use that one. Let's see here. And then obviously I need to remove the dairy items from here because she doesn't tolerate that. Metapure looks good. Bio HPF, bloat ease, I would agree with either that or the Mega IgG. Metagest, also good. She's already taking that and enzymes. Not totally sure. I'm curious what your thoughts are about. I know this is kind of like a standard protocol, but I'm curious what your thoughts are for her on using the Histoleaf, the histamine um, probiotic for that. So you can let me know what you think about that as well. Otherwise, I think this looks pretty good, although I need to I need to do her calorie calculation on this too. So let me know what you think. I think the biggest things are reducing inflammation, repairing the lining of the gut, which is obviously going to shift the microbiome itself. And then when she actually does the carb pulse, that's also going to shift the dysbiosis that's happening. She's already started to notice a decrease in some of her upper GI symptoms. So I'm hopeful that, as we move into this, it's going to shift that as well. So that's the quick down and dirty. I didn't want to run through the entire thing with you, but I will send this along with her test. And that way you can give me feedback on anything that I'm missing. So thank you so much.